Hi everyone, I'm Katie.
And I'm Lisa.
And you might recognize us from the front desk. We just wrapped up the Community Flow class earlier in March, and we wanted to offer you a class inspired by that series and the last class we taught. And we wanted to do it in nature because we love getting out in nature together. So while we're all social distancing and might be feeling some isolation and some fear and uncertainty, we truly hope this serves you. So we're going to actually start on our backs. And if you don't have any props, we're going to start with a blanket underneath our back. If you don't have props, you can also use a towel. And I'm going to have Liisa demo while I walk everyone through, but the first thing you're going to do is just roll this up about halfway, your towel or blanket, and this is going to go right underneath your heart for a mini heart opener. And so, just to show you, I want to make sure that the roll is right underneath the heart and that it's coming right underneath the shoulders. And so Liisa can leave her hands like this in goalpost. She might, if she wants a little bit more of a shoulder stretch, she might bring them back overhead into a diamond mudra. And she's going to just take some nice deep breaths here. She can extend her feet out long, or in Supta Baddha Konasana. And as you're in this pose, start to bring awareness to your breath. Noticing kindly, without judgment. And slowly starting to exhale your breath, making your exhales a little bit longer than your inhales. After a few more deep breaths, I'm going to invite you to bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your lower belly. Not only to offer yourself a little bit of feedback as to where your breath is in this moment, but also to offer yourself some grounding, some soothing, especially if we're home alone and not able to have that touch from another person. This can be a really nice gesture of support that we can offer ourselves at any time. So feeling your belly get big under your lower hand, and your chest rise beneath your upper hand. We're going to offer ourselves some loving kindness. So call to mind yourself. You might imagine that you're gazing into a mirror or looking at a photograph of yourself that you can easily call to mind. Or you might imagine yourself at a younger age. Whatever is coming up for you, really see yourself. Take a moment to notice what you're wearing, what your hair looks like, the color of your eyes. And notice if any other sensations are coming to mind. Perhaps a particular smell or sound. And as you gaze into your own eyes, Offer yourself these words. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be peaceful. May you feel loved. And may you live your life with ease. Now, you might offer yourself some gesture of parting, and slowly let that image of yourself fade away. Next, call to mind someone you know, someone you're close with, that might be suffering or having a hard time. If it's too much, it doesn't have to be some deep suffering. It could just be some minor pain that they're going through. But call to mind someone you'd like to offer some loving kindness to. Imagine them walking toward you. Notice what they might be wearing, or how they styled their hair or didn't style their hair. Notice the color of their eyes, and maybe any freckles or lines on their face. And offer this person that you care about these words. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be peaceful. May you feel loved. And may you live your life with ease. Now you might offer this person some gesture. You don't have to social distance when you're imagining, so you might hug them, or offer a kiss, or simply a wave. And let that image of this person start to fade away. And finally, call to mind the entire planetary community, all of humanity. You might picture Mama Earth. You might picture some people far away across the globe. You might picture some distant family members. Whatever resonates with you, offer up these words to all of humanity. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be peaceful. May you feel loved. And may you live your life with ease. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we be at peace. May we all feel loved. And may we all live our lives with ease. Now, as you let this image go, reach your arms out to the side so you could give a big hug to the entire planet. Take a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, wrap your arms around yourself, giving yourself one more nice big gesture of love and kindness. And then come to the side, any side that feels comfortable. We're going to just remove the blanket or towel from underneath you. I'm going to help Liisa here so she doesn't have to do much. And just take a moment. You might feel comfortable curling up into a fetal position and really letting yourself feel held by the earth, whether you're inside or outside. Just notice how the earth has always held you. It's always kept you here. Always kept you from floating off. When I was little, I used to pray and pray that I could just fly like a bird and jump off chairs. But gravity and earth always kept me grounded. And how grateful I am now for that. And as you're ready, go ahead and press your top hand into the earth. You're going to slowly come into a child's pose. So keeping your head nice and close to the earth. And just knowing that this position or fetal position or any position that feels really nourishing to you is always available. You never have to push yourself. And what's nice about being virtual is no one's watching, but even if you were in class with us, know that you can always take this position to rest and listen to what your body's asking for, listen to the medicine it needs. And this is a great position to do that in. We'll take one more deep breath here. And then slowly, slowly rising up to a tabletop position. Yes. Thank you, Liisa.
Uh-oh.
I think it's okay, but maybe we just have to. And as you're in this position, just start to move intuitively as feels good to you. So you might move your hips back and forth. You might start to make some circles. You might come forward, bringing your weight into your hands. And then easing up, bringing the weight to the back. Just noticing what feels good to you here. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On your next inhale, reach your heart forward and gaze forward, coming in to cow pose. And as you exhale, curl your back in and arch it up for cat pose. Now you're going to continue to move in this way, using the whole length of your inhale to get into cow pose, and the whole length of your exhale to come back into cat pose. We'll do this one more time, inhaling nice and long, and exhaling. As you come back to neutral, we'll start to make some hip circles. So as you inhale, drop your hips back and to the right, and as you exhale, bring it up and around. So we'll do this for about 3 times before switching directions. Inhaling as you sit back, exhaling up and around. One more time. And go ahead and switch directions. Then coming back into neutral, on your next inhale, you're going to reach your right arm up to the sky, and then exhale, threading it through between your hand and knee, resting your cheek on the ground. And if you'd like a little more stretch, you might reach this arm forward. Pausing here, feeling yourself rooted down in the earth. And on your next inhale, reaching back up and coming to neutral, tabletop position. On your next inhale, we'll switch sides, reaching up. Feel yourself reaching up and exhaling, grounding down. And again, reaching that front arm forward if you'd like a little more stretch. Taking one more full breath here. And on your next inhale, reaching that left arm back up to the sky and placing it down. Now from here, we're going to sit back on our heels, coming into a hero position. If you have a block handy, you might want to sit on it to bring a little lift to your hips. And if you don't have a block, what would work nice is maybe some books. Off the top of my head, like A Course in Miracles is nice and thick and sturdy, or like the Harry Potter trilogy. I've been watching that a lot. So you're going to come down, get nice and comfortable, and start to make some head circles. And again, noticing if you can sync your breath here. So perhaps on the inhale, you come forward. And on the exhale, you gaze back. And the next time you come forward, switching directions. Syncing the movement with your own breath. And letting this last circle be your last round. Nice. And on your next inhale, we're going to reach your arms up, bring your right foot out to the side, and reach over for kind of like a seated crescent moon pose. Then we're going to drop our right hand to our leg, gaze up, and start to make some nice big circles with that left arm. Now you might follow your fingertips to give yourself a little bit more of a neck rub. And the next time your arm comes up, go ahead and switch directions. The next time your arm comes around, you're going to hinge forward at your waist, reach your hand forward, over and around, and come back behind your left foot, and then press up for a falling star pose. Hold it for just a breath, and then come forward again. So we're moving through this crescent moon shape into a falling star. Again, moving at your own pace as it feels good to you. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Returning back to center. Reach your arms up. And then this time bring the left foot out to the side. Reach your arms up and over, perhaps gazing up. And then dropping that left hand to your leg and starting to swim your arm forward, making some nice big circles. Imagine you could be sending love to people on all sides of the earth. Again, letting your gaze follow your fingertips. And the next time your arm comes up, go ahead and switch directions. And as your arm comes back around near your ankle, you're going to hinge at the hips, reaching over and around, planting your right hand out and to the side of your right foot, and then pressing back for a falling star pose. And then slowly moving through these shapes, crescent moon and falling star. Notice that as you root that right hand, you're able to rise up. Feel yourself reaching up even higher than you thought you could. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then returning back to hero pose. You're going to reach your arms out to the side and bring your arms into eagle arms. So first, my left elbow is underneath my right. You're just gonna, as you inhale, you're gonna arch back. And as you exhale, you're gonna curve in. Very similar to the cat-cow movement we were doing earlier. So inhale, feel yourself expanding up. And exhale, curling in. Inhale, stretch those wings. And exhale. One more time. Beautiful. And on your next inhale, we're going to reach those arms up again. This time the right elbow is going to come underneath. We'll inhale up, feeling your heart open, and exhaling, curling down. Inhaling up. Exhale, curling in. Inhaling up. Exhale, curling in. And one more time, inhaling nice and big. Stretching your heart forward. And exhale, curling forward. And then coming back to neutral. We're going to come back into that tabletop, but just for a second to show you some alignment. So with your pointer fingers facing forward, you're going to have your wrist creases be parallel to the front of the mat. You're going to bring your knees back a couple inches, tuck your toes, and press up into your first downward dog of the practice. Have you be my demoer. Yes, and while we're here, just like we did in our tabletop position, you can start to move intuitively as it feels good to you. Maybe wagging your little doggy tail by moving your hips back and forth. You might take your doggy on a walk by bending one knee at a time. You might reach one leg up to the sky for three-legged dog. You might come forward into plank and kind of come back and forth through plank and down dog. Or you might sense that what your body really needs is stillness. I don't know about all of you from home, but for me it's felt like, even though I've been working from home all week the past 2 weeks, and I've been given a lot more space and time, I feel like it's been nonstop and a lot of work. So if your body's wanting some stillness, please honor that. One more deep breath here, and then slowly walk your feet up to meet your hands. And slowly roll up, letting your head be the last thing that comes up. So that might be vertebrae by vertebrae. I'm going to ask Lisa to do vertebrae by vertebrae. Or that might mean bringing your hands to your hips and just coming up this way. This might be a little bit gentler on your back. And so I wonder if we need to step back a little for this. But while we're here, we're going to do some sun salutations. But before we go all the way through chaturanga, we're going to just do this nice and easy. So on your first inhale, inhale your arms up wide. You can do it too. And then exhale, forward fold, touching the earth. Inhaling for halfway lift. Exhaling back into forward fold. And then slowly rising. And taking a pause in Tadasana. And as you're here, just take a moment, close your eyes, and just notice how you're feeling. Notice if it's any different than when you started the practice. And again, just notice without judgment. And on your next inhale, we're going to reach our arms up. And as I tell my preschoolers, we say, "Good morning, sun." And as we exhale down, we touch the earth and we say, "Thank you, earth." Now, of course, if your hands don't touch the earth, you can always use blocks or your Harry Potter books or whatever prop might be available to you here. So coming forward into that forward fold, Uttanasana, inhaling up to a flat back, exhaling back down to forward fold, and slowly rising up. We'll do that one more time. Inhaling, "Good morning, earth." Good morning, sun. Exhaling down, "Thank you, earth." Inhaling up for forward, for flat back, Exhaling down for forward fold. And slowly rising up. Back to Tadasana. And Lisa's gonna keep flowing with you guys.
from Tadasana. Inhale, arms up to the sky. And exhaling, hinging from the hips, coming back into your forward fold. Inhale to your flat back. Exhale, plant the hands, stepping back into high plank. You can drop your knees here if that feels better. And lowering yourself down to the mat slowly, slowly. And then inhaling up into your baby cobra. Exhale, coming back down to the mat. And inhale, pushing yourself back into child's pose. Resting in child's pose for a moment, and then coming to find your seat, we're going to come into cow face pose. And you might want to use a block here for your cow face pose. I, for one, have really tight hips, so I like to give some lift with the block. Your right leg is going to be underneath your right foot near your sit bones, and then left leg comes on top into your cow face pose. Inhaling here, whatever shape this looks like for you. As you can see, my knees are not stacked, but coming towards stacked. And if you're feeling okay, starting to walk your hands forward, maybe coming all the way down to forearms on the mat. Breathing here. You only want about 60 to 70% sensation in your hips. This can be pretty intense, so you don't want to feel too much. And breathing. Slowly, slowly walking your hands back up to a tall spine, top of your head lifting towards the sky. And then we're gonna do a fancy disco spin. This is one of the first poses that I ever taught when me and Katie were doing our 200 hour, and I hated it, but I've come to really enjoy it. It can be really fun. So you're just gonna keep your feet planted firmly, lift your hips up to the sky, and then do a 360. And here we are with your left leg now on the bottom, your right leg up on the top. If that was too much for your brain, too much mental yoga right now, you can of course just get up and switch your legs. And then finding your tall spine, sitting up nice and straight, and starting to walk your hands forward, coming into a little forward fold. You can stay up pretty high, maybe bringing your forearms down to the earth. Wherever you're at today is perfect. And breathing here. Walking yourself back up to a tall spine, unraveling your legs, and coming back into child's pose for a brief rest. With your head resting on the mat, maybe you start to rock your head back and forth, stimulating that third eye. And then on an inhale, planting the hands, tucking your toes, lifting up into your downward dog pose. Fingers really gripping down into the mat. Pointer finger facing the top edge. And on an inhale, right leg comes up to the sky, bringing that knee forward, pausing in knee to nose, and then placing that right foot in between the hands, dropping the back knee, Your foot can come flat to the floor or have your toes tucked here. I prefer my foot flat to the floor, but whatever feels good for you. And inhaling up into Anjaneyasana, your low lunge. Hips are square to the top of the mat. Maybe if it feels good, taking a little tiny back bend here, curling up towards the sky. Really feeling a nice stretch in the front of that left hip flexor. And then exhale, planting the hands. You're really going to root through your left hand. Kick that back foot up and swim around with the right hand to catch the left foot. You can also take a strap here. You can use a scarf or anything you have on hand. Twisted monkey. Letting that go, planting the hands, tuck your back toes and lift the back knee. Rising up into your high lunge. Again, feeling a nice opening in the front of that left hip flexor. The sun is coming out, maybe take a little bit of a back bend. Gazing up towards the sky, the ceiling, wherever you're practicing. And then opening it up to Warrior Two. Your front heel can be somewhere in line with the arch of your back foot. You can also take a wider stance, whatever feels comfortable for you here. And stretching that front arm out and the back arm back, maybe taking a look to see where your arms are in space, maybe sinking a little bit lower down into that front knee. Building up from the foundation, solid, strong legs. Breathing here, letting each inhale really give you some length through the spine. Gazing out over the middle finger on the front hand. And then flip that palm up towards the sky and reverse your warrior. Really finding length through that right side. If you want, you can take a little half bind here, whatever feels good to you today. And then coming back into your Warrior Two. And windmilling the hands down to meet the mat. Stepping back with that right foot. And taking your vinyasa. And maybe that means dropping your knees, doing a cobra. Or you can do chaturanga to up dog, and then lifting your hips back up into downward facing dog pose. Taking a rest here. Finding length in the spine, again rooting down through the hands. Heels are pulling energetically back towards the mat, but they don't need to touch. You can also have your knees bent here to modify. And then lifting that left leg up to the sky, bringing it forward, pausing a knee to nose. And then stepping that left foot through, dropping the back knee, untucking the toes, or keeping them tucked as you like. Inhaling, arms up into your low lunge, Anjaneyasana. And breathing here, really feeling a nice stretch through the front of that right hip flexor this time. Maybe again taking a little tiny back bend, gazing up towards the sky or the ceiling. And then coming back down, planting your hands, really rooting that right hand this time on the mat. Inhaling, that left arm up. Kicking your right foot back to your seat and reaching around so your hand can find that right foot. Coming into your twisted monkey lunge. Maybe even kicking with that right foot into the left hand to give yourself a little bit more stretch. Really feeling this open up the front of that right hip. And breathing here. Letting that go. Tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee, and inhaling up into your high lunge. Again, feeling that sensation in the front of the right hip flexor. Maybe taking a little bit of a back bend. Breathing here. And then opening up into Warrior Two. I'm going to turn around so you guys aren't looking at my back. I had a teacher who said that your right hand is reaching forward into the future and your back hand is reaching back into the past. And you are here centered in the middle. Torso is right in the middle. Weight is even on the front foot and the back foot. Finding your solid foundation. Maybe sinking a little bit deeper into that front knee. Gazing over the middle finger on the left hand. Letting your breath lengthen your spine. And then flipping that front hand, coming into your reverse warrior. Again, really feeling that opening up through the left side body. Breathing here. And then back up into Warrior Two and windmilling your hands back down to the mat. Stepping back with that left foot and taking your vinyasa. And again, maybe that means knees down to baby cobra or chaturanga to up dog, and then we meet back in downward facing dog pose. Lowering your knees. I'm going to switch back around so I'm facing the direction I was before. And we're just going to come take a seat. Tall spine, heels clicked into the mat. And we're going to lift up into boat pose. I'm sitting on a slant right now, so this is extra hard. You can keep your hands in the back of your knees to kind of give yourself a little bit of support. You can even bring your hands behind you for some support. If you're really feeling it, you can straighten the legs, coming into your full boat. Breathing, and then slowly, slowly coming down to lie on your back. And resting on your back for just a moment. And then we're going to come into bridge pose. So you might want to have a block handy, just in case you want to use it in a moment. So resting on the back, bring your feet flat on the floor, knees are pointing up towards the ceiling. Heels come in closer, a bit closer to the seat. Your palms are pressed flat down into the mat. And on an inhale, lift your hips up to the sky. Turning on the glutes. You can either grab the edges of your mat here for a little bit of lift through the chest, or you can start to wiggle one shoulder blade and then the other beneath you, taking your bind, pressing your chest up towards the chin, chin up to the sky. You don't want to crunch through the back of the neck here. Lifting the hips a little bit higher, feeling that nice back bend. Breathing here. And then lowering slowly, slowly, one vertebrae at a time, rolling back down to the mat. We're going to do that again. So setting up your bridge, hands pressed down into the mat. Inhaling the hips up to the sky. Clasping your hands, grabbing the sides of your mat, whatever feels best for you. Pressing the hips maybe a little bit higher, turning on those glutes. And and then coming back down to the mat. And for this next one, we're going to you can take a restorative bridge, so that would look like putting a block right underneath your sacrum and just resting here if you're feeling like you need a little more grounding, stillness. You can take another bridge, just like we just did. Or if it's in your practice, we're gonna go ahead and push up into a full wheel. So from your bridge pose, you're gonna take your hands, place them on either side of your head, and we'll do this in 2 stages. So first, pressing up to the top of your head. And as you find stability here, you maybe push all the way up into your full wheel pose. You're really careful of your shoulders here. And we're gonna stay for 5 to 8 breaths. Coming down whenever you're ready to the top of your head, and then all the way down to your back, taking a rest, knees out wide, right hand on your belly, left hand to the heart, and find yourself centered back on your mat. Knees point up to the sky. Rock yourself up to a seat. And if you want, you could have done that a bit quicker and taken a jump back, but I'm just gonna go ahead and step right back into my high plank pose. Again, don't let your hips drop here and don't let them push up too high. You want your hips are going to be in line with your shoulders and your head. Remember, your neck is an extension of your spine. You want a long spine here. And again, really digging your fingertips into the mat, maybe puffing up a bit through the back of the chest. The heart is raised like a little mini cat pose here. And then lifting your hips up into downward dog. Taking a breath. On an inhale, lifting the right leg up to the sky. Maybe bending the knee, taking some hip circles on the right side. And we're gonna come into wild thing. So flipping your dog, dropping that right foot outside the left, and pressing your hips up towards the sky, letting that right arm reach backwards, really getting some length, hips up towards the sky. Careful of the shoulder. And then flipping it back, coming into your downward dog. Exhaling forward into plank, lowering yourself through your vinyasa, whatever that looks like for you today. Inhaling, hips back up. Again, lifting the right leg up to the sky. And this time bringing it forward into pigeon pose. So your front shin can be somewhere parallel to the top of your mat. My hips don't do that. So I'm taking a pointed toe. You do want to have your foot active, and that is to protect your knee. So we're finding some length in the spine in our proud pigeon. If this is a bit too much sensation in your hips, you can also take a block and sit up on the block if you need to, putting that under your hip. And then walking your hands forward, coming into your resting pigeon. Sure. My lovely assistant Katie has reminded me that it might be nice to show how you can use some more props to give yourself some height here. So if you're not finding yourself coming all the way down to your mat in your resting pigeon, you can prop yourself up on a bolster. And if you don't have a bolster, then take a pillow, a couch pillow, anything you have on hand will work to give yourself some height. And this can also feel really supportive and loving to give yourself a nice place to relax. Coming down onto the bolster or your pillow. You can also use a block. Just prop it up underneath your forehead, so that would look something like this with a block. Breathing here. And then walking your hands back up. We're going to do all of that on the second side. And the sun is really out now. It's gotten really hot. Lifting your hips back up to downward dog, planting that foot. Inhaling the left leg up to the sky and taking some hip circles to start. Then dropping that left foot outside of the right, coming into your wild thing on the second side, really lifting your hips up to the sky, reaching back with that arm, opening the heart, letting out your wild thing. Even if you're trapped inside, we can still play. And then coming back to your downward facing dog pose, flowing through your vinyasa, whatever that looks like today. Up into downward dog. Lifting that left leg and bringing it through for your pigeon. Hips are square to the mat. Again, your shin does not need to be parallel to the front edge of the mat if that's not where you're at. Just remember to keep your toes either flexed or pointed. Just keep that foot active to protect the knee. Taking a breath up into your proud pigeon, and then walking your hands forward. I'll show with the block. You can raise the ground up to meet you, and rest here. Slowly starting to walk your hands back up. We're just going to swing that right leg around. So you're coming to a seat and then resting back, bringing knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice big hug, wrapping your arms around your shins, maybe bringing your forehead up to your knees. Squeeze and then letting that go, dropping your knees over to the right side. Left arm is out long, gazing to the left, coming into a nice supine twist. And you can take any version of a supine twist that you enjoy, that your body is feeling right now. Maybe that's eagle legs or one leg out long. Bringing your knees back to center, dropping them to the opposite side. Coming back up, knees to center. Coming into happy baby. So reach through, grab the outside edges of your feet. Maybe you want to rock a little bit here. If this is too much sensation, you can also grab your ankles or even further down on your calves if you need to. Maybe lengthening one leg out long. And then the other, finding what feels good here. Breathing. Lower back is pressing down into the mat. And then giving yourself one last big hug. Sending yourself some love. And then stretching out long, coming into your final resting pose, Shavasana. If you have a bolster or a pillow or a blanket or anything you find around you in your house, you might want to put that underneath your knees to really provide yourself some extra support and relaxation. Lying back down, opening your palms up to the sky, the ceiling, and breathing here. Maybe sending yourself some of that loving kindness that Katie guided us through in the beginning of the practice. And letting go of control of your breathing, just letting your breath become really natural. And I invite you to pause the video here and take as long as you have available to you for a nice relaxing Shavasana. And I'm going to come out of this, so rolling over to your side, resting here for just a moment to let your body adjust to this new position. And when you're ready, pushing yourself up with your top hand, letting your head be the last thing to rise. That really keeps your nervous system happy. And finding a comfortable seat. You can look away from the video, close your eyes, bring hands to heart center. We thank you for joining us in this practice today. We are sending you all the love and all the light and all the healing vibes.
May all beings be happy, healthy, peaceful, loved, and free.
And that means all beings, no exceptions. Thank you. Namaste.